Welcome back to episode 8 of Sleepless in Mobile. I'm your host, Elizabeth.
And I'm Justin.
And hopefully today we can actually release this episode versus last week.
Last week had some producers were butting heads. I was really fighting for that episode to be released for you guys.
It was supposed to be about our embarrassing moments.
Or funny. I labeled them as funny. She labeled them as embarrassing.
Mine were slightly funny for certain people, but they were mostly embarrassing. I have a lot of embarrassing stories, come to find out. And
some of them were really good and funny, though.
I don't mind sharing that. Like, I don't mind sharing my embarrassing moments because I feel like it's a very humbling time. And it kind of like makes everybody else feel better about themselves.
And you label yourself as an open book.
I do.
And
I am an open book.
Yet you fought me tooth and nail about not releasing this episode.
There's certain points where you can tell so much stuff about yourself to where you become that person that does that.
You become the person wearing the wolf shirt at the flea market, you know, with the lighting in the background. You don't want to be that person.
There was a lot of the same category of embarrassing. Like the same thing happened multiple times.
4.
And I just don't. I don't want to be classified as that person. So
what's not like
we'll re-record it, but I'll strip back some of the stories. I'll narrow down the funniest
You'll
ones.
see the pattern, though. You'll hear the pattern. You won't see it. You'll hear it.
Anyhow, welcome back.
And speaking of funny stories, I want to start this one off with a funny story. This happened today. We went to Cracker Barrel to eat lunch, and we're standing in line waiting for the Hostess. Is that right?
Yeah. It's the
I
Hostess.
thought Hostess was a cookie brand. Anyway, that was a fat kid side note. Let me back up. So we
wasn't even a joke. You were for real.
We were in line waiting for this girl to come up and tell us where we were going to sit. Well, there was a person in front of us. This person should have clearly been either working or eating at Waffle House, not at Cracker Barrel. You catch my drift. I mean, this is a full-blown Skid Row crackhead.
What the
And this little girl comes up and asks the lady, how many are in your party? She says 4. And the little girl asked her, I say little girl, she's a grown woman. She's maybe whatever. But anyway, she was like, any kids? She said, yeah, 5. And the girl was like, do they need kid menus? She was like, no, they're at home. And Elizabeth and I were like,
I looked over at Justin and we were
freak?
just like, oh my God.
The look on this little girl hostess's face was like, are you high now? Or are you coming off of one?
She literally asked her, did she have kids in the party? And she said 5. And then whenever she asked her, do they need menus? She said, no, they're at home.
Like,
come on. And she was dead serious, too.
dead serious.
Yeah, that started our day off right,
Her husband walks up, and it makes total sense. If there had been a DHR agent standing there, they would have been some confiscated 5 kids that day.
Anyway, we hope you enjoyed your week so far. Ours has been eventful.
It's stuff like that, though, that makes my week. And that's what makes me watch people. It's because it's those little diamonds in the rough. When you catch that one glimpse of something like that, it makes it all worth it. It may only happen once a month, once a year. But if you're a people watcher, those are the moments you live for.
Yeah.
I don't condone soccer, but it's like scoring a goal in soccer. When you get one,
you're
you're
excited. You're so
excited.
against soccer.
It's stupid.
It's not stupid. I mean,
You kick a ball from one end to the other end.
okay, football,
One end to the
you
other end.
run the ball from one end to the other end.
Yeah, but when you score, you get more than 1 point. They give you 7.
6.
If you kick the field goal, you get 7.
But that's only if you kick the field
yeah,
goal.
but theoretically, it's 7 points.
Whatever. Anyhow. So what are we talking about today, Justin?
I think it would be a good idea to talk about something you've been preaching to me about for a while now. Something
What? I'm always preaching to you. You got to be more specific than that.
This one here, I think it's a pretty good subject matter, though.
What?
Dating your spouse.
Oh, yeah. I do preach about that.
A lot.
Well, it's because you don't.
Well, I mean, we have a kid now.
It doesn't change
I get
anything.
I get that when we did,
That's
when Emery
even more
wasn't
important.
here, huh?
So now it's even more important.
I mean, I understand when Emery wasn't here, it was a lot easier to just say, "Hey, you want to go out tonight? You want to go do something?"
Even then, though, you would try to invite our friends, and I don't get me wrong, like that's a good thing, but at the same time, we need like alone time together to date each other.
Yeah. I invited them because it was fun. I didn't realize.
How do you think that makes me feel?
I didn't realize it was.
Okay. I invited them because it was fun, and you're not.
I didn't say that.
That's basically what I heard, though.
But maybe what I was alluding to. Kidding. I'm joking. You're actually a ball of fun.
Didn't know, I was giving him the death stare.
You're actually a ball of fun.
Am I?
Yeah. You have
ball of fun? Is that a fat joke?
Butterball of fun. How about that? Headed that out. But no, you are one of the. I say this. I'm not blowing smoke just because you're sitting across from me. But you are pretty funny. I don't laugh at everything.
Pretty funny.
I don't laugh at everything you say or do.
Nobody does.
But I mean, you are funny in your own way. And your facial expressions are out of this world. When you react to something, that's the funniest stuff ever.
Yeah.
You have the greatest reactions. It's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost Jim Carrey-esque.
I love Jim Carrey.
His facial expressions.
He's my soul animal. Spirit
animal.
Spirit animal.
Soul has food.
Yeah. He's my spirit animal.
Spirit
Do you know
animals.
that it's not politically right? Politically right.
Politically right.
Did you know it's not politically correct to say spirit animal anymore?
Why?
Because natives are taking it offensively, or it's the white women that are taking it offensively for the Native Americans. It's probably more like it. It's definitely more like it.
As a 1% native is definitely not us.
Oh, I'm 1% too.
Are you offended by spirit animal?
No, because I'm 99% white.
Oh, hey, we're getting off subject here.
We are.
But anyway, yeah, you're actually a joy to go out with when it is just me and you. If I'm not in one of my moods, I openly admit that I can be in a mood sometimes. It is sometimes unpleasant to be around because I don't know. I get quiet for some reason, which is a shock to a lot of people who know me because I'm a motor mouth.
I am a quiet person by nature.
See, and I'm not. But it seems like every time you want to talk to me, I don't want to talk.
And it's so frustrating because for me to talk to somebody, like actually open up and talk to somebody, it takes a lot because I usually guard my thoughts. Like we said previously in like other episodes, because not everybody understands what I'm trying to say. So I end up being like the weird person that thought about something really off the wall. So the fact that I'm trying to open up to you and then you're like in one of your moods where you don't want to talk, it's so frustrating.
And I think that comes from me being at work and talking to the guys all day long, because we just talk all day long. I think when I break away from that, I just want to be quiet.
Yeah, and guess what? I've had Emery to talk to all day. No, she's not even 2, so
she can string words together.
Yeah, gummy,
poo poo,
gummy.
Deer. I've got her saying deer though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess.
But
yeah, you need to date me, and I say that all the time.
And I do realize it's important. I've actually listened to a podcast on it my own self, trying to like.
Congratulations.
I'm trying to understand more about what you're saying, because any man knows you don't listen fully to your wife.
You don't listen at all to me.
I hear you, but I don't listen.
That's what I just said. Example A.
Which is part of the problem. I'm admitting this. Okay, don't give me them side. I wish you could see the side eyes. I'm getting heavy side eyes. She's been a trooper. She's been preaching at me with this for a while.
And not bickering.
Not bickering. No. She doesn't. I will say this about her. She does not bicker. And she doesn't. I mean, yeah, she has her wife complaints that she has, but I mean, I ain't saying that she doesn't bicker. She has her stereotypical wife complaints. Pick up after yourselves. Don't leave your cups laying around so Emery don't get them. The simple stuff. But as far as like bickering about if I say I'm going hunting or if I'm going fishing or I'm going somewhere with my brother, we're going to do something. It's not a or why. In 5 years of marriage, she's never given me an issue about any of that, about my hobbies and going and doing what I love to do.
Yeah.
Do I ever come home with a stringer of fish? Not always. Rarely. I usually just throw them back. And if you hunt, you don't always, you spend a lot of money, but you don't come back with anything. But she has never complained. Ever. So I'm extremely
welcome.
I'm extremely blessed, and I am extremely thankful for her in those areas, because if not, it'd be extremely difficult. Ooh, it would be difficult.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of women that do, but I'm sure they have their reasons. But I just feel like you work hard enough, like you deserve time to do what you love. Me, I love to clean.
And I like to make a mess, so we're perfect.
You honestly aren't messy.
No, I'm not. I'm actually a pretty clean person.
Yeah.
For the most part. For a man.
Yeah.
By men's standards, I'm a pretty clean dude.
Yeah. You're not very messy. Now, your vehicle is another story. My gosh. Like, I know I compare stuff to cartoons all the time, but he's like Boo off of Open Season whenever they go into that gas station or whatever it is. Just eating candy bars and leaving the wrappers everywhere.
Energy drink cans in the floorboards.
Oh, his vehicle is a whole nother story. But
I have though gotten into the habit of about like when the weekends or when I'm working out of my work schedule and I'm off for the weekends, we have a big old dumpster. I've been getting pretty good about running by that dumpster and emptying all my trash for the last 2 weeks out, and then starting fresh on the next 2 week rotation.
Yeah.
I have been trying to get into that habit because I look at it and then I started getting disgusted with myself. I'm like, Liz would not approve of this, but she would approve.
It's not
of
like
me
I'm
going by
the
this garbage
neatest
can.
person. My car gets nasty just like anybody else's.
You also have, almost a 2-year-old riding around in there throwing snacks and sippy cups and whatever crap.
Yeah,
around.
but I mean, I also go through drive-thrus and we go to the gas station and get drinks and snacks and stuff like that. So those wrappers end up in the back seat, like on the floor. And I mean, I'm not perfect. I think we're like shining the light too brightly on me. I need to start tearing down some of this a little bit. I am not a clean person. Like, we wear shoes in the house, and the house I'm constantly sweeping though. But the house is a wreck right now. Like, the counters are covered and stuff. It's not like I'm that clean of a person. It's just, but mentally though, I know it's there and it's driving me crazy. That's the kind of person I am.
The counters look like that because you kind of took a break this weekend. I mean, me and you went out Friday night and done our little date night. Then you had a girls' night last night, which was needed.
It really was.
Emery and I got to watch some deer hunting cartoons, which was well needed. So this break weekend was really needed because you and we have so many irons we're trying to stick in the fire and get things going for ourselves, and before it gets too overwhelming, I mean, I think a good disconnect weekend like this one was needed.
It definitely was.
Because I mean, you've got, I don't know how many irons in the fire. I've got 2 I'm trying to stoke in the fire. You over here, you've got a whole wall. You walked in with an arm load and you're like bling.
That's my thing though, is I get overwhelmed whenever I have a lot of stuff going on like this, and I love it, don't get me wrong. I like having a challenge, but I get overwhelmed, and so something has to take a back burner. Well, we're trying to do this podcast. This is more of your baby than it is mine, but just because I'm more tech savvy than you are, way more. Can't even
I'm doing good to run my iPhone.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised you're able to work your iPhone.
I can send an email though. I can.
That's impressive. Do you know how to add a signature to your
I do.
email? Really?
I do. I had to get shown 3 times, but I do.
Wow. So yeah, so I have that iron going because Justin it would just no.
It wouldn't work.
Just no.
There would be no edits.
Yeah.
You would hear all the stupid stuff in between.
Well, I mean, anyway. So I have that iron going, and I'm trying to get better at, well, honestly, we need more material, more content, and I'm looking at Justin for this because it's his baby. But we need more content for it, but I also need to be able to push it more on social media to get more of a reach.
And we do have like guests that we're trying to line up. One of them is lined up. We just have to nail down a date.
Well, that's my other iron in the fire. It's like a sub iron because it's based off of this iron.
It's like an iron with a fork.
Yeah.
Not a fork at the end of it.
So one episode that we want to do is with my grandpa. He is 85, I believe. And I could be completely wrong about that, but
well versed. Like he's had his hands on a little bit of everything through the years, so
he has.
He's an interesting cat.
Well, my main reason for wanting to do it is because he does have a ton of family. Like, we have a lot of family that's descended from him and my grandmother.
Yeah.
They had 5 kids. I think collectively, there's like 19 or so grandkids on his, like, from his lineage. And then he has great grandkids. So, I mean, there's just a lot of family there. And I don't feel like we know all that much about their marriage or his parents or even really her parents. There's a whole lot more family that we can ask on her side, but on his side, it's really just him.
Yeah.
So I want to have him recorded.
Well, he's still sharp. He's still pretty sharp. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's still like, yeah. I want to have him recorded basically telling his whole life, like from childhood, like where they grew up, his parents, like what he knows about his family, like his aunts, uncles, cousins, all that kind of stuff. And then go into his military service and whatever he can share from that. I know some people are kind of, more private about that. But I also want him
Spec Ops, though.
Well, I also want him to talk about the marriage between him and my grandmother and, how it was raising the kids while he was still in the military, because they lived on base in Florida for a while. So I'd just like to get that perspective.
Wasn't your grandmother in the Air Force, too?
No. No. Anyway.
Where I got that from?
I don't either.
Pluck that little dandy out of left field.
She couldn't hardly even drive the vehicle.
Oh.
Anyway. So I have that iron in the fire. And then I want to also interview my grandmother on my dad's side.
So this thing's got 3 forks.
Well, bear with me. I want to interview her in the same manner for the same reasons. She was born and had a stroke. So she has a disability, like her arm drew up. And I kind of want to get that perspective of how it is to grow up with a disability and like the comments and stuff people make to you and the things people say that, basically impact how you feel about yourself and that kind of thing. I have that iron going. I want to interview my aunt. She's a female truck driver. She's been driving trucks since the early 90s at least. I want to interview her about it and get that perspective. I think that would be a great podcast episode. And then there's also my great aunt, Vi, who is my grandfather's sister on my dad's side. And she's 95, so I really need to get that one going. But she lives in Gulfport, Mississippi, so I'd have to travel over a weekend with my aunt. And we're really wanting to get that going. I've had discussions with her about, talking with her about it, and I'm sure she'd be more than willing to. So I just have a bunch of things that I want, and those are more personal. They're not necessarily something that Justin would like, but ultimately...
I'm cool with it. I think it would be great because I don't have that opportunity.
Yeah. Well, while I have the opportunity to learn this stuff and to be able to share it with my family, basically. Because, I know other people that may listen to this don't know who these people are, but it's still like lessons that you can learn from the stories that they have. And I love talking to older people about what they went through and just hearing their stories, because once they're gone, everything that they've ever experienced is gone with them. So I'd like to at least be able to retain some of those stories. So I have that going on and trying to, do research and stuff on how to even give a proper interview. I know that's very basic, but I want to be able to do it right if I'm going to do it. So then there's that. The next iron that I have in the fire is just being able to do my Etsy shop. And I really want to get that going as far as having residual income, just having stuff on there that's more of like a PDF type item to where I don't have to ship anything. Like they can literally just buy my artwork and print it out or do whatever they're needing to do with it. I want to establish that. I just haven't had time to do that. The next iron is recently one of my cousins reached out to me about possibly doing the graphics for her t-shirts. She has like a clothing company in Oklahoma, and she really wants to see if, it would work out between us. And that's not really set in stone yet, but I'm excited about it. I'm up for the challenge. So I have that iron going, and I really need to get started on it, but I can't do that until after this podcast. so
we gotta hurry up. We gotta hurry up and get this knocked out, dude.
So after we get done recording this, I'm going to be going straight to my iPad, which is what we're recording on anyway. But I'm going to go straight to my iPad and start, drawing all that stuff for her. So I think that's it.
And on top of all of that, you're a wife and a mother.
Yeah. A wife and a mother.
Let's throw those irons in there.
Well, then I had somebody reach out over the weekend, and they needed 24 cookies, 24 cookies made, some footballs.
And they were so good. I got the leftovers. Oh, my God.
I was able to make 26, so Justin was excited because he got 2 cookies. But, yeah, so I have a bunch of different stuff going on, and I honestly enjoy it. I love it so much. But it is overwhelming at times. But I wouldn't have it any other way, because if I just sit idle, I get so caught up in my own thoughts, and it's not fun.
Plus, you like challenge anyway.
I love challenge. I love doing stuff new. I love trying stuff new. So I like challenging myself.
My turn to talk about my irons, and I'm trying to stick in the fire.
What are your irons, Justin?
Well, one of my irons is, like you said, is this podcast. I mean, I try my best to be a really good co-host, even though this was my brainchild I struggle at times trying to come up with conversational topics, but you help me straighten all that out, which is
saying something, because I don't feel like I'm very good at conversation.
No, but I mean, it's like these ideas you have about talking to your grandpa and your grandma.
I tried to get
aunt.
Justin to talk to his great uncles, because his grandfather's brothers are still alive. Some of them, not all of them, but because I mean, while he still has the opportunity, but I don't think he really wants to do that.
Well, one of them, I'm not sure where he's even at.
Yeah.
And
I
the
just
other
want to
ones,
make it clear that I'm not just
Hold on.
like shoving my family
no,
under this thing.
I don't come from the same. We're definitely not cut from the same cloth. Our families are two different, and I love my family. I'm not knocking them in any kind
What
of
do you
way.
mean, though?
But like, I don't know. Your family's interesting. Your family's had a bunch of.
Everybody
Well,
is
no.
interesting in their own way.
Yeah, if my grandpa was alive, it'd be different, because there's a gnat crawling.
You would be
He
surprised,
was trying to
though.
crawl.
Like, you would honestly be surprised the stories that they have to tell. Like, you
And
don't think people are interesting, but
I do have a great aunt that I would, on my mom's side, that I would love to talk to, because she is a family tree guru, and she knows a lot about my family history that I am curious about, that I don't know.
I understand what you're saying, but I also find beauty in the simple life of people. So even though they might not have had anything crazy happen to them, like, I mean, yeah, my grandma had a stroke whenever she was a baby, but after that, her life was, I love you, Grandma. But after that, her life wasn't that interesting. It's just the story of their life is what makes it interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like
I don't know how to properly
I
word
understand
it.
what you're saying. I just feel like getting that information from the horse's mouth would have been better, you know?
Well, I mean, try the pony.
Try the horse's brother.
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah. Anyway, that's one iron in the fire is this podcast and the ideas we have for it. And another iron is this upcoming deer season, which is right around the corner. I'm going to try to start filming my hunts for YouTube. And just because I enjoy watching deer hunting, and I've always, ever since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to film my hunts, even though I don't come home with a deer every time I go out, but it's still fun to do because I enjoy sitting in the woods. It's a good reset for me. So that's basic. I have 2 irons to your like 60.
No, I don't have 60.
No, you don't. But I mean, you have more than 2, that's for sure. And one of mine we share, so those are my irons. And like I said, I have 2. I can't handle more than 2 because I will
feel like I can't either.
Yeah, but you're more of the you like puzzles and stuff and that kind of challenge, and I'm over here like I ain't got time for that, bro. I have no desire for that. And you like that not multitasking, but that what's the word I'm looking for? You like having multiple things go on at once, I think, more than you think you do. Because it presents that challenge.
Yeah.
And if you complete the challenge, then you feel way more accomplished. Whereas if I started that many irons, I'd be like, I didn't get but one of them done, and I feel like such a loser. That's how I feel. Why did that make you? That made you laugh way too much.
I don't know.
What? You laughed hard at that. Am I a loser in your eyes? I am a loser, ain't I? I'm a loser.
You're not a loser, Justin.
And then, to some people, it may not sound like a lot what we have going on, but in my simple world, it seems like a whole bunch. And we're trying to do this because we turned 30 this year. You turned 30 before I do. You turned 30, week and a half?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to be 65 and still stuck in a steel mill, wearing my knees out, going up and down stairs all day. So I want to try to do something to work on getting myself out of a steel mill.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to do something just because you like challenges.
I love challenges.
Plus, like I said, too, we're getting older.
Yeah. I'm supposed to start college this spring. I was supposed to start college last spring.
And then this
I was
fall.
supposed to start college the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that.
Every year since 2012.
I've been wanting to go to college for so long, and it just hadn't been in the cards, and I feel like now is my only time to go. And I've been struggling with what to go for and all that stuff, and I finally, I think I have it, but we'll see.
What is it?
Marketing.
Say that louder. I don't think that folks in the back didn't hear you.
Marketing.
Whose idea was that?
Honestly, it was yours.
What?
But it's not like I haven't thought of it before.
You've never said that to me. You've always said, no, I don't like that idea.
Well, it's because you always hear, I know marketing is different from being a graphic designer.
A lot.
But but I feel like it's kind of like hand in hand somewhat.
And
I know it's not, but
you've already got so much experience doing it.
Somewhat.
You've already had hands-on. People drive around our little podunk town of Citronelle or anywhere in Mobile County or some parts of Washington County. They've seen a billboard that you've done.
Yeah, but that's graphic design. That's not marketing.
It's part of it, though, because you had to put it all together. A marketing team.
I had to do the budgets and that kind of stuff. Like, I had to figure out how much. But, that's, again, like, it's very, very simple stuff. But either way, I'm wanting to go to school for marketing. But next week, you'll find another, a different major that I might go for. And in 10 years, I'll be like, I might go for something else. So,
how rough shape are you going to be in at 40?
Probably pretty rough, bro.
10 years will be 40.
Shut up.
That's a scary thought.
Shut up.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I remember when my parents turned 40.
I do too. My dad turned 40. He had a cake at my sister's house up in Tuscaloosa, and they put 40 candles in it. And by the time they took all the candles out, like
no cake
it looked like a sponge cake.
Like somebody
holes
shot
all
it
in
with bird shot. Sorry, Jimbo.
Yeah, it looked pretty crazy. But yeah, I turned 30 in 10 days. I just looked at my phone.
I turned 30 in December.
10 days.
30. You know,
My 20s have not been kind to me.
Hey.
Okay, let me preface that. My early 20s and my late teenage years were the worst years of my short life. I wouldn't wish those years on anybody. I was just telling my friend Bethany last night, we took a girls trip and just like drove around town, and then we ended up in Gulf Shores. But I was telling her last night, I was like, I blocked out so much of that stuff to basically, because I was in survival mode, I blocked out so much of it that I had to sit in bed a couple nights ago and try to chronologically like order all the stuff that happened in those years, because I had blocked so much stuff out. I couldn't even tell you in what order anything happened. Here's to hoping that my 30s are so much better than my early 20s.
My next 30 years.
Yeah.
I feel old. I'm starting to feel old.
I honestly don't, though, because I feel like I've always been 20-something. I mean, not 20-something. I feel like I've always been like 30-something in my soul.
Oh, no. We're talking about two different feels. My body feels old.
Oh, my body looks like garbage. My body looks like straight up garbage. I look like
I'm talking about how it looks.
I look like Ethel in the trailer park. I look rough.
20s, I didn't think about age. Coming up to 30, we've made appointments to go see primary doctors.
We should have been seeing
We should have been, but you know how the last time I seen a primary, it was a pediatrician down there off airport. He had turtles outside of his exam rooms.
What the crap?
And
where'd you go?
Right there by IHOP on airport. So I don't go to the doctor unless I'm like deathly ill. So to load up and go to a primary care physician this upcoming week is going to be super uncomfortable for me, because I don't like going to the doctor even when I am super sick. But it just tells me that age is creeping up. Like getting older is a realistic thing I'm looking at now. And I'm only 30. I know this one wasn't very long, but we do appreciate you tuning in this week to episode 8. We made it to 8, dude.
We did make it to 8. We have a couple irons in the fire.
We made it to 8 part B, though. Part B. The first episode of 8, technically, is going to get released. I promise you.
But I hope you enjoyed this episode. We do have a couple irons in the fire. Hopefully the next episode that we release will be the story of Charles Moses, my grandfather, and basically his story. If not, like if that doesn't come to fruition in time for next week, we'll have something else planned to release. But we hope to see you then. Thank you for tuning in.
See you.
Bye.